Hey, Christina. It's great to have
Hi,
you here.
Sabrina.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We're very excited to be talking about the Scale community. Obviously, thrilled that you're on board and so central to this community here. We wanted to ask you about your thoughts around the value of the Scale community and why you're excited for Scale.
I'm excited for two real reasons. One is I think that if something like that had existed when I was starting my career or even mid-career, to have a place to go with people that are not just looking to like check the box and get a solution, but really come up with keeping several steps ahead and finding out how to scale their businesses in a really healthy way, that would have been incredibly helpful to have. And I've never found anything like that. And now I've sort of cobbled together my own little community. So to have that is a huge benefit to everybody involved in a scaling organization. I think the other piece is having been involved with the House of Visionaries, which was sort of the predecessor to the scale community. It's one of the only groups that I actually really participate in. There's lots of networking groups and things that you can join. This one is what it says it's going to be, right? It was a group of people that came together to really think about things differently and not look for the sort of standard solution, but rather what's the right solution in our thing. So I've had such positive experience with the House of Visionaries. I've just got to imagine that it's going to translate to this scale community.
Absolutely. And thinking about the House of Visionary events that we've run, and of course, our hallmark is these hands-on workshops and the high-value networking, as well as bringing in the best speakers who are talking on forward-thinking topics. For startup leaders or people leaders that are working and scaling businesses, what do you think is the return on investment of going to an event that maybe has a few
Oh,
different speakers and, is taking up a few hours of their time?
I mean, I'll be really honest with you. It depends on the event, right? Because I think there's lots of people that are so busy. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to scale a business, you don't have an abundance of discretionary time. And I think that the return on investment is huge if you're with the right group. If you can walk away and say, I learned something significant, this changed the way I thought about something, et cetera. That just seems like a really savvy investment of time for me. So I think the return will be huge.
You've been involved in Boston startups for a while now and know the community really well. I mean, what excites you about the local Boston startup scale up scene and the talent that we have here and the potential?
Sure, I got really, really fortunate. I bought into startups my first job out of college, and I got bitten by the bug and never wanted to do anything different. But when everyone started going to the Bay Area and they were all bought into Silicon Valley, and that's the wave of startups, I thought I'm going to stay in Boston and try to help contribute to building the ecosystem here. And I'm so glad that I did. I mean, I think this is just between the universities, the quality of the startups that have come out of here, the willingness of CEOs and leaders to share their learnings and bring along the next community, I just think is really a really special thing to be a part of.
We're excited for our first event as well, and of course you'll be giving our headline talk, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to getting your takes and your journey within startups and scale ups. Can you tell us a little bit more around what does scaling with soul mean and what we can
Sure,
expect from that?
sure. For me, it's totally made up by me, but for the way that I think about it is, I was at Rapid Seven for a really long time, and not to go into too long a story, but I sort of had a habit of going into a company, helping them scale and get to an event, and then leave and go do it again. And when I tried to do that at Rapid 7 after we went public in 2015, Corey Thomas, our CEO, was like, that's cute. Like, why don't you help us stay being an amazing company to work for, and a thriving organization, and then you can claim victory and go on. And I thought, oh my God, damn it. Like, that's exactly what you say to somebody like me. But I'm so grateful that I did, because I learned a lot. And him throwing sort of down the gauntlet and saying, what does this look like at scale? I knew I could scale, but what does it look like to sustain scale? And I learned a ton. And for me, scaling with soul became a really big piece of it, because I think one of the biggest fears I ever had as somebody who grew up in startups and never wanting to go in my mind, big company equaled bureaucratic, red tape, et cetera. I wanted none of that. So the new challenge became, well, how do you scale without becoming what you don't want to be? And that for me meant soul. That sounds so touchy feely, but a lot of it is about doing the right thing, not doing it because somebody else follows in your footsteps, or you're following in somebody else's footsteps, et cetera. It's really, what is the next right thing that feels authentic to us as an organization? Obviously, you have to add process and things like that as you scale, but it doesn't mean it has to become bureaucratic or feel lousy. And I think that's where a lot of companies go off the rails. They can get to the scale, but how they keep it there and thriving is the big challenge.
Absolutely. I think a big kind of value add for that is the conviction, right? And having conviction as a leader that you're doing the right thing. And as your product is scaling, as funding chaos is happening, how do you keep that conviction and how do you keep that
Yeah.
soul central?
Yeah, I mean, I will share this. I think that the people that thrive are not the smartest, not the ones with the most funding, whatever. I mean, there's obviously there's some basic fundamentals, but I think the other piece is they do it for the love of the game. They do it because they love building, or they're really passionate about creating jobs for thousands of people, or whatever their motivator is. If it, I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone likes to make money, but if it's just about the money, I've found in my experience, those are not the people that can go the distance, right? It might be very short lived. So,
Absolutely.
how do you create that? How do you create an environment where people continue to, like, I've never had a bad Monday. I worked really hard to create environments so that people were excited to go to work. They felt like they had ownership in building whatever it was the company was doing. That, if we can tease some of that out and scale, I think it would be incredible.
Absolutely. I think hearing those stories and examples of, how can we create those experiences for the companies that we're building? So we're not just excited about the product and the success of that, right? But we're excited about the success that the people will
Yeah.
find and the fulfillment from building something truly amazing. So off the back of that as well, we're really focused on the challenges around scaling people and culture and talent and truly the soul of the business. I mean, why do you think these are the challenges that are really central to success in a scaling company?
Because they can't be solved with technology, right? I mean, relationships and connection and community, that's the thing that differentiates us from the machines, right? And I love technology advances. I mean, I'm old enough now that I've lived through several waves of stuff, and I love watching us advance and get more efficient, whatever. But you can't manufacture human connection. And having grown up in startups, having watched companies where people get in there together, roll up their sleeves, grab a shovel, and build something really amazing together is a feeling it's like love. I mean, you can't package that feeling. It just feels incredible. Um, if that's how you're wired, it's not for everybody, right? I mean, startups are, as you said, chaotic. Not everyone loves to deal in chaos. I happen to thrive in it, right? So it's knowing what touches you, what motivates you, and then getting in there, finding your place in it, and finding as many places to put your fingerprints all over it as you can.
Absolutely. I know with the House of Visionaries, we've really focused on the saying, "You don't get there alone," and I think
Mm.
the community is a really big piece of that.
I'll just say, if you check out the first event, if you've been invited and you make the commitment to go and engage, I will be shocked if you don't get a ton out of it.